Well, hi. So, welcome to another of Tai's steps. This is step number 6, and this one he calls the sculpture versus the lottery. And it's really about how you approach your evolution and media bias in particular, and the effect of media bias. And he starts off with a good quote from Will Durant, which is that we focus far too much on the last 24 hours and not enough on the last 6,000 years. And the media is skewed towards ratings. I think most of us know that already. And the problem is it's hard to get away from that, the way our brains work, and that we think if we hear something often enough, it must be true. A good example is, when they ask people what's the biggest problem in the world, and people come up with things like terrorism and things like that. But the truth is, one of the biggest problems is something like soil erosion, where we're losing the vital part of the earth where we grow food. And if that's gone, we're in big trouble. But those kinds of things don't get so much media attention. Also, Ty didn't talk about this, but also, there's a lot of politics wrapped up around issues like that. The real issues, for some reason, is politics wrapped up. I haven't quite figured out why that is. So, we don't hear, we just hear the ending story for a lot of things. Like Bill Gates has a lot of money, Warren Buffett has a lot of money. But we don't hear about the working story. We don't hear about the journey so much. Yeah, we get biopics sometimes and things like that, but in conventional media, you don't hear about it. You hear about Jennifer Lopez, but you don't hear about the work Jennifer Lopez put in, whatever you think of Jennifer Lopez put in, or these other people, Chris Nolan, any celebrities. We hear about the end, we don't hear about the journey. Most rich people, we don't hear about the journey, we hear about the end. So, we're told that success in business, for instance, is you come up with an idea one day at home and you patent it and you do something amazing with it. You go on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, and a couple of years later you've made lots of money and you get on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine. And it really doesn't work like that very often, if ever. We don't hear about what happens behind the screen, behind the scenes. And, it's kind of like we wish for a lottery ticket approach to winning. And we're told the same thing with our relationships, with love, that, you turn around. In the movies you see, you turn around, somebody's standing over there, she's beautiful, you fall in love with her and your life changes. That's a big thing. Your life changes dramatically, and that's it, and you're happily ever after. I don't think that happens so often. With your health, we're told that you can get a pill, or you can buy a Thigh Master, or whatever it is, and showing my age there, but you can buy a Thigh Master and become healthy overnight, basically, which of course is impossible. And I think part of this is that we're sold this thing so that we will sit and toil in our life of misery, and hope that one day the lottery ticket will appear and change it all for us, and that we don't have to work towards our goal. We can work towards what's easier, societally easier. And there's this quote again from the University of Kentucky coach, what's his name? Calipari. Sorry, my notes are a long way away. John Calipari, and that is, you have to learn to love the grind, because life is the grind, right? So instead of a lottery ticket, take this sculpture approach. This where you carve out your perfect life based on the materials that you are given. And that's what the key thing is, but being specific to you. Like, look at me, I'm a big guy. I'm never going to be one of these Kenyan runners. I'm never going to be, a lot of things because of my age. But, you have to learn yourself. Peter Drucker says most people think they know what they're good at, and they're usually wrong. So you have to learn yourself. Take tests, look at your physical body, and build your personal life, your professional life along those lines. And, it sounds simple, but there's something working against you and I and Ty, seems to think it's the media. And you get this constant barrage of input telling you otherwise, that this lottery will win. You know, magazines and the news, the more you listen, the worse of a sculptor you become. And you should really go on a strict media diet. And, you know, if you watch movies, and I mean, I'm ostensibly in the movie business, and I love movies, but you have to take them with a grain of salt, or you have to discuss them, and you can get a lot out of movies, I think, if you approach them right. And if you watch the right movies. And, you know, you have this thing called narrative bias as well as media bias. Narrative bias, which is the oversimplification of the process. You know, so you should be reading books, not magazines, because books maybe will go into things longer than magazines. Yeah, so kind of wrapping it up, Einstein said you want things as simple as possible, but no simpler, and things take time, 18 months to make a change to your body, 66 days to make a change to your thinking. And your brain is built to ignore things that are temporary, right? So you have to take it for that long. But and the longer you do something, you have this cycle of doubling, or this rule of 70 and all that crap. Which makes me worried because I'm old and maybe I don't have so much time left. But if you're younger, you can do it, and you've got time to build up something quite impressive. If you're older, like me, you don't have so much time. You have to work harder and faster and smarter. So, and then he's got, again, he quotes this Munger quote, which is, you spend each day trying to be a little bit wiser than when you woke up in the morning. And day by day, at the end of the day, if you live long enough, like most people do, you'll get what you deserve. And hopefully that's true. The lottery, I happen to know about lottery. The lottery, like a typical 6 out of 49 is about, your chances are about 1 in 14 million of winning that. If you work on yourself, your odds are much better of success. Don't base your whole existence on this lottery mentality. Shortcuts and get rich quick schemes and mega fat burners and things like this. There's information out there to do this, to do this right, and to do this slow, and to do it in a way that sticks. So, Ty's two questions were, what's the area that you've taken this lottery approach in, and what's your new approach going to be? So, I hope this was helpful. It's a little bit long, sorry, and changing technology here, but hopefully you like it. Okay, talk to you later.